Hello, everybody, and welcome to 3 on 3. Three hosts talk about three different topics covering all the news from the previous week in pop culture. My name is Marty.
I'm Matt.
I'm Nick.
And we are Mediavania, talking about all things pop culture, such as, I was going to say sports, because I just said 3 on 3, but it's not typically sports. It's video games and maybe board games, movies, TV, television. And that's where each of us brings a topic to the table, and then we're going to discuss. Gentlemen, you doing all right?
No.
Yeah, we're doing good. I think all of us a little fighting little colds, but other than that, we're doing pretty well. So my topic I'm going to be bringing today is the delay from Bethesda. Bethesda delayed Starfield and Redfall to 2023. And I just want to talk about that and like what our holiday looks like of video games this year. So see what fills in there. How about Nick? Nick, what's your topic today?
We're going to be talking about where the state of the Halo franchise is with the TV series wrapping up, and with Infinite kind of releasing next season's plan.
Mm-hmm. And then Marty.
And then for me, I'm going to be Nintendo just released their end of the fiscal year numbers, which ended up in March. We'll be talking about the sales numbers and projections for the upcoming year, and ask you guys some questions on where this Switch may land over the next few years.
It's time. New Switch. Let's go. Yeah. I mean, everyone's buying Switches, that's for sure. But yeah, we'll get things started off with the delay. So this week, Bethesda announced that their two main flagship titles of 2023 are delayed until 2023. Did I say that right? Did I say 2022?
2022,
yeah. They were supposed to come out this year. They're coming out next year. Especially Starfield and Redfall. Starfield, their next gigantic role-playing game that kind of is a space sci-fi. People are loosely comparing it to like as large as an Elder Scrolls game set in space. Looks great. I mean, from what they've just kind of teased and shows in screenshots. They had a pretty hard date for this year, though. They had a really cool date, too, if I remember correctly. It was in November. They decided against it. What do you guys think about that? What do you think of a big delay from Bethesda?
First, can I ask, I don't even know what Redfall was. What is Redfall?
It was the kind of co-op shooter with vampires. It's kind of a Left 4 Dead kind of type game.
New IP. They showed a trailer. I don't even know if they've shown gameplay on it.
I don't think so, but it was
it was that cinematic. Yeah, they did the cinematic, and it was brand new IP. It kind of felt a little Overwatchy, but like I think Nick might have said a little co-op action in there. We're not sure. I mean, we won't know until next year. But yeah,
I'll give my quick thoughts because they're not going to be that long. I wasn't that excited about Starfield because I'm not a big sci-fi person. I much prefer fantasy. So to me, same. Starfield was delaying the next Elder Scrolls. I was going to say Elden Ring because that's constantly.
Oh yeah.
Elder Scrolls, and it's like now that this is delayed, it's like, well, that means Elder Scrolls is delayed even further. So it bugs me for that reason, actually more than itself. Here's the thing. If Starfield comes out and you guys say, my gosh, Marty, you got to check this out. This is amazing. I will for sure do it. I love a good RPG. And even though it may be sci-fi based, I'll still try it if it comes out and it's good. But again, my concern is like, well, great. Other stuff I was more interested in will just now be pushed out even further.
Did you ever dig in on Mass Effect?
You know what? I did, and I enjoyed Mass Effect. So yes, I can't say I didn't like sci-fi because that was good.
That's kind of the outlier for me too. Is like Mass Effect 2 is one of my favorite games of all time, and the trilogy as a whole is top tier for me. I mean, 1 a little rough around the edges because of 1. 2 is one of the best games. It's just out there. And then 3, controversial ending aside, I thought 3 was also still a really great game. But Mass Effect does show me that I do really enjoy sci-fi RPGs. I'm not sure outside of that what I've played that outside of like the Star Wars universe or whatnot. But yeah, I was intrigued by Starfield. Nick, were you excited about Starfield?
Yeah, I was pretty excited. I love sci-fi, so it was right up my alley. I like the Fallout games too. Like they're different from the original Fallout games, but Bethesda's done a good job with their own take on the franchise.
So I was excited.
Go on. I was going to say, even though, to me, Bethesda is like Blizzard. The people that made Mass Effect aren't making Starfield. And so that kind of concerns me. It's but they did Mass Effect. Yeah, but that's not the same Bethesda either as it was back then either. So we'll see.
Yeah. I was excited for it, but I can wait. I don't necessarily need that giant game right now. I will play it when it comes out, but I will gladly wait. They have said before they would rather, not see another Cyberpunk situation happen, which is just it's just not ready, and it's this huge game. If it's riddled with bugs, that game is bad forever. And that's all there is to it. I know that Cyberpunk's turned a corner and it is pretty good now, but it's still tarnished, right? Like they did not have a good launch. It wasn't.
I was gonna say Cyberpunk's still not in an amazing state.
Sure.
So,
but what this also does is it really clears out this holiday. So I have a quick little list, and I'm just take a couple minutes here to go through what else is coming out this year. And you guys have, wow, this is thin. So the one of the major ones that doesn't have a date yet that they say is going to be coming out is God of War Ragnarok. Now, God of War Ragnarok is still supposed to come out this year. That could very well get pushed as well, though. If that's not ready, they're not going to rush that out. But just looking through here and maybe looking at some of the larger ones starting next month, and I'm looking at like Mario Strikers Battle League. There is a new Fire Emblem game coming out. But even those two, aren't necessarily.
Don't call that a Fire Emblem game.
Oh, the Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes.
It's a Warriors game with a Fire Emblem theme.
Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is going to be big for Switch. Saints Row possibly in August could be a big game coming back out. There's Splatoon 3 for Switch. A lot of Switch games, by the way.
Here's my question: is anything on there replacing Starfield for the Xbox and PC though?
No. In October, there's Forspoken, Gotham Knights, which didn't Gotham Knights just get delayed as well? Or I believe this list is.
It was already delayed. So
yeah,
this might be the new one. But it looks not great based on the gameplay trailer they showed.
And there is just a lot of to be announced stuff. Now this might come more into view next month. Only due to the fact that there's Summer Game Fest, and where E3 normally would have been, there's going to be announcements and videos and stuff. So we're going to come back next month. We're going to talk about what was announced on all these, Summer Game Fest style events. And we'll see, maybe at that point, the holiday will come more into picture. But, Breath of the Wild 2 got delayed out till next year. There's so many of the big titles that just aren't coming out this year. So it's a thin holiday. And this, we could be feeling this could be a COVID kind of thing, right? Like just the delays, and if the shutdowns are now backing stuff up, and this holiday could be the first one affected, I think.
But see, to me again, I gotta think the Xbox higher ups are going, well, crap. What's going to be our Christmas game? They don't really have one now.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Dead Space, the remake to Dead Space. A lot of people are looking forward to that. That got delayed till January. Just lots of delays. Holidays looking thin for gamers. So I guess keep your eyes peeled this summer and see what comes out. Nick, let's talk about Halo.
All right. So I want to preface this segment with, for the longest time, I was the biggest Halo fanboy, right? We talked about just informally about staying in line for the minute.
I'm just going to lean back in my chair and get ready for this rant because this is going to be epic.
I would like to jump in just real quick and say I am also just a giant Halo fan.
I had the Halo swag, I had the t-shirts, the merch. I read some of the books and they were not good, but I still read them, right? We were joking about the midnight releases, right?
We were getting misty-eyed about midnight launches just a couple weeks ago.
I said the midnight release line for Halo 2, Halo 3, Reach, even ODST. Like I even said the midnight line for ODST, right? So for the longest time, I was the biggest Halo fanboy. So I'm really sad to see where the Halo franchise is right now. And the reason I bring it up is we just, the TV series just wrapped, right?
Hold on, and not we, you.
Yeah, okay, and I was the only person who kind of made myself watch it, right?
But Nick can give us a review.
Okay, review. It's bad.
Very good.
And honestly, it's not even just like aggressively mediocre. It's just bad. Like the acting is not good. The casting was, kind of all over the place. The special effects look cheap, right? Too much CGI. And if you look at the Covenant, they look like big cartoon figures against like really great costumes. Like the costuming is great, the props are solid, but the CGI for the Covenant, it was terrible. At least because there was so much CGI that it just looks fake. Like it was old, like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, like superimposed on real stuff. So it's crazy. and not just the TV series, right? We talked about, we were joking ahead of time about the crazy end to the series finale, and they just, threw out the established book and video game canon with their characterizations of Master Chief and all the other characters, and they kind of went off on their own direction, which is like, we waited so long for a Halo TV show, like so long, right, for a movie or a TV show, and this is what we got.
I'll tell you,
does that carry over to the video game franchise
Infinite too? Right, like Infinite has for me has had a very disappointing season rollout. We still don't have Forge, right? That's always been a staple of Halo. They're only announced a couple new maps, and like I haven't even been playing.
Yeah, but the TV show is separate from the video game storyline. Like they're not. Yeah. It's not like a canon story for Halo video game world, is it?
Yeah, but I mean, it's like gone pretty.
I did
jump the shark. Like it already is like falling off the tracks. From
I saw a video of him shooting a battle rifle, but it was shooting like an assault rifle, and and it was so many people mad. They're like, "That's a battle rifle. That doesn't shoot like that."
Should be the 3 bursts, right?
You got to get the 3 bursts, man. Like if you play Halo, you're waiting for those 3 bursts. But it's been said too that the people who made the Halo game, and Marty, you mentioned this, they did not watch Halo or play Halo. They didn't have a lot of background on Halo, right? They just kind of did their own thing.
Yeah, I mean, so some of the, I don't know if it's the showrunner or some of the writers, it's like, it's like we don't really know much about it, but we're just going to make this our own thing. It's like, it's not what fans want. They don't want your own thing.
Yeah, and it could have been okay, but it was bad. Like, I don't mind when things deviate from the source material, but have a reason for it. Don't just be different just because, right? Especially don't be different because you were lazy and didn't play the games.
So I have a question for you, Nick. How do you save Halo?
Oh, great question.
Okay. Number one, you have to fix the video games. And I'm not sure 343 has demonstrated that they're the right studio, right? And we talked about how sometimes the studios aren't even the same. But the problem is, even if you handed the reins of Halo the franchise right back to Bungie, that's not the same Bungie that made Halos up until Reach, right?
Yeah,
so I don't know. That's a really good question. But it's really, for me as like a longtime Halo fanboy, it's like a sad state of affairs right now.
Yeah, and because there might not be saving it. They're I heard adding a battle royale, that they added a battle royale to the Infinite, and that still hasn't brought people back. I played it a lot when it first came out and I thought it was great, but it just fell off and had no desire to go back. So does another Halo game, like Infinite took so long to make. I don't know. It's gonna be tough. It'll be tough for them.
Yeah. I mean, Infinite, I was gonna say, we talked about delays. Infinite itself was delayed a couple of times, so yeah.
Has anybody by chance looked at the Steam numbers to see how many concurrent people are still playing Infinite?
Yeah, it's low. Okay. It was in like the single thousands. I assume most of the Halo players though are on console, but yeah, the Steam numbers are still telling that it done
for sure.
Wow.
Good luck, Halo. We love you. We want to see you in a better spot.
Yeah.
But I think that's our parting from.
It's like the ex-girlfriend you bump into in the mall and she's not looking so great and you kind of feel bad for her, right? And like, that's what I feel with Halo.
Oh, Halo will pull itself around. I have faith. Marty, what do you got for us on Nintendo?
All right. So just this past week, Nintendo did their fiscal report to their stockholders and everything. And this is where the board gets in front of the stockholders and say, okay, here's what our sales were for the past year, lifetime sales, and some of our projections for the future. And they talked about what software titles were sold and everything, but I kind of want to focus on the unit sales. So let's take a look at what they have reported. So total number of Switch units sold during the Switch's lifetime is 107.65 million units. And if you look at the bottom of this image here, the Wii sold 101 million. So the Switch has already outsold the Wii, which is an accomplishment in itself. The Wii was an amazing seller. The software units, I thought this was funny. The total number of software units sold is 822 million, pretty much ensuring it's going to be the first ever system to have more than 1 billion units sold of software. That's not just Nintendo, that's everybody. Look at the Wii U, Hardware sold 13 million, software 103. So there were more Switches sold than software for the Wii U, which just shows you how bad
I had a Wii U, man. I
still got one.
I did like my Wii U. The Wii shop for that thing was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I skipped it.
You did?
Yeah, I don't have a Wii U. That's like the one Nintendo console I've never bought.
The nice thing about it, it did have a good store for going and buying some of these GBA games that you you can't get anymore.
Totally.
So it's not showing here, but the Game Boy sold 118 million, which is more than likely this will beat it. The projections for this year from Nintendo are only selling 20 million units in the next fiscal quarter, which is a big deal because it's actually down from this year, but they said it's because of chip shortages. So here's my question to you guys. So that's all the hard facts. Look down there at the Nintendo DS, 154 million units sold, and the PS2 is around 158 million units sold, making those two the highest sold pieces of hardware. Will Switch surpass that?
It's a good question. I think it will if they continue to just stick with its current model, right? Like, I mean, they had the LED come out last year. Mm-hmm. They haven't come out. If they do another iteration of it, I'm assuming those numbers would roll into just the Switch.
Like a Switch Pro, yeah.
If they did a Switch Pro, then it absolutely would. But if they come out with like a new system, which is, it's kind of time, like, and with Breath of the Wild being delayed, that screams it's going to be on a new system. You know, like it'll be on the Switch, but it'll also be on whatever. They've done that with almost every Zelda ever. So I think it's going to just come down to whether or not Nintendo continues to just support this model or actually moves forward and comes out with something new.
I feel like they're going to ride the Switch out for a little bit more. Like there's no reason why. And if they do another console, is it another portable console like this one?
Yeah, I think they got to do it. I think the portable market is huge, especially if you can just make the graphics better, make the games faster, but still also have that portable option. I mean, I think I don't see them making another fully TV only system. Do you?
No, I don't, and which is why I think you teased the Switch Pro. I think the next thing they release is in the Switch family, and they still count it as a Switch. I think that name brand is too big right now for them to ditch and go. You know, it's like the Game Boy Color, the Game Boy Advance. They held on to that Game Boy moniker for a very long time, and I feel they're going to do the same thing with the Switch. And if you're talking, they're predicting 20 million units sold next year, so that'd be pushing 130 million. Another 20 million the next year, if they stick with the same sales, is now at 150 million. So I think those numbers are in sight, but a hardware refresh will need to happen. But to me, if they come out with something that's a Switch Pro, I think you're spot on, Matt. Halo, still talking about that. Breath of the Wild being delayed to the spring. They typically release hardware in the spring. I could totally see a 4K supported Switch, 4K supported on your TV when connected, coming out about the same time as Breath of the Wild. And they go, hey, y'all, check this out. Breath of the Wild 2 looks gorgeous in 4K, doesn't it? Well, now buy this model of Switch, and then you can play this game in a 4K. That would easily propel it well past 154 million.
I'd have to buy a third Switch.
I'll get another one too. The thing is, like, well, a lot of people were noting Breath of the Wild 2. A lot of the gameplay that they've shown, some people are saying like the standard Switch can't do what it's showing off. So they're saying that it was already being developed on something stronger, and that's kind of those are just kind of like rumors and whatnot, like, but it makes sense. Like the draw distance and stuff that they have shown on those videos is really impressive. And I don't know if the Switch obviously will play the new Breath of the Wild, but maybe not the one that we saw. Just maybe I think we're seeing the new Switch version of it. Again, if they do Switch Pro, like Marty said, 4K, unless it's just a whole new system, Switch 2, or something, where it's like a really big upgrade. I think they have to do a big upgrade. Marty, I don't think they can get away with just doing a 4K because they did the LED one last year. I mean, that's a really minimal. I mean, 4K is a big deal, but like from doing an LED and then being like, oh, all right, now here's 4K. Like the LED one should have supported 4K last year. So
yeah. So be interesting. A lot of people say, well, here's my concern. People's concern with that is backwards compatibility. 100% next Switch should be 100% backwards compatible. But do you fracture your market if you say, well, if you want to play Breath of the Wild 2, you need the Switch Pro? Or will they be smart enough to go, well, you could play it on your current Switch, but be forewarned, we have to scale back the graphics on that if you want the full performance. Play it on the Switch Pro, but this same cart will play on either one and just scale back depending on which system it's running on. To me, if they went that way, I think that's the perfect solution.
I think it'll be 2 different games.
Really? You think it'll be 2 SKUs, one for Switch and one for the new one?
That's a lot. Nintendo's been trying to keep things streamlined, though.
They did that with Twilight Princess. They've done that with.
They did it. Yep.
There was the GameCube one, and then there was the Wii one.
But that was also 2 completely different systems, right? If they do like Switch Pro or Switch 1.5, then maybe you don't have to do that.
Well, you're saying, like I said, if there is a brand new Switch, you're saying that it'll also take the exact same carts that Switch did, right? Like, I mean, it might. I don't know, but they've changed it up every time. They've never stuck to the same format. 3DS has always had 3DS games. DS has had. Well,
remember there was the 3DS XL. Which did have some games that were accelerated for that new hardware, but it played all the old stuff too.
Well, it'd be interesting to see what they got up their sleeve, because I mean, I think Nintendo's cooking something we just don't know yet.
Yep. And who knows? Will we see it in the summertime? Maybe announced.
Maybe. I don't. They don't really stick to. I don't know. I don't even know what they'll announce this summer. I remember when Breath of the Wild 1 came out, that's all they announced. They had like an entire E3 that was just Breath of the Wild. Like they didn't show any other games. So yeah, it'd be interesting.
All right. Well, we'll see. So all of us think that Nintendo could easily break that number, but you're probably going to have a refresh of hardware somewhere. Keep the Switch moniker, which I think will be Nintendo. Please don't. It'd be stupid to ditch the Switch name at this point. I mean, not when you're still selling 20 million units a year, and that name is a household name. Y'all mentioned, will it go back to a home console? I don't see how, because now the Switch is, okay, households will have more than one. I think Nintendo likes that.
Yeah.
Selling more than one per household. All right, y'all. We got a brand new segment that we're kind of introducing with the name 3 on 3. It's going to be what we call 3 and Out, where each of us kind of share something that maybe we played this past week or something we just want to share, and then we're going to get out of this place. So let's go around the horn again. Matt, what you been playing or want to share that you've been doing this past week?
All right, I'm finishing up Elden Ring. This will be the last time I talk about Elden Ring, I swear.
Sure.
I have one trophy. I have one trophy to go, you guys, and that's the last ending, and then I'm good to go. So that's it. That's it for me. Nick, how about you?
I downloaded Celesta. I actually started up the campaign DLC. But the TV show I want to talk about is Severance on Apple TV Plus. It is so good. So good.
I just finished the last episode last night.
Was your mind blown by that final episode?
Yeah. So here's the thing. It was like, where's this going to go? For those, we're not spoiling anything. I will say, I told some people, that last episode of Severance is one of the best hours of TV and storytelling I've seen in a long time. The pacing and the way the story was presented, I was talking to the TV. I was literally talking to the characters. I said, why am I doing this? I was just so into it at that point.
I was literally sitting forward, on the edge of my seat while watching it.
Yep.
I have to watch it.
Yeah, we don't want to spoil why, but I was the same way, Nick. I mean, it's just I'm like, this only has 5 minutes left in the show. I don't know where this is going to go. So, but yeah, if you haven't seen it, it's worth seeing. So for me, I'm still playing 13 Sentinels. I'm not going to talk about that. I will talk about something I'm a little disappointed in. So Nintendo did their indie showcase this past week, which I typically like, but there was really nothing in there I really cared for. But they released a demo of Card Sharks, which I was very interested in because I thought the art style was kind of cool. And to me, I thought Card Sharks was going to be this kind of RPG where instead of battling, you play card games. But as I've gone through the demo, the things that you do with the cards isn't playing a game, it's teaching you how to cheat. So as it's teaching you, it's like, okay, when you're given the chance to shuffle cards, do these different button combos in order to force cards to the top of the deck and the bottom of the deck. And if you do it correctly, you'll win the game. And so it's teaching you these techniques of how to shuffle and cut cards certain way by having to remember button combinations. And I'm like, this is not what I hoped it was going to be. So Nintendo, thank you for releasing a demo. I'm going to pass.
Yeah, sometimes those demos hurt him, right?
In this case, it hurt me. The art style is really cool, but I don't know. I think I'll just save my money and get Live Alive. Is it Live Alive, Live Alive, or Live Alive?
It should be Live Alive, right, though? But there's like a translation here.
Did you pre-order your physical version?
I will be.
Yeah,
I will be. Cool. I was hoping it was Live Alive.
Yeah, Live Alive.
But it's Live Alive.
Live Alive.
I don't even know.
It
looks cool, though.
All right, y'all. So thanks once again for checking out 3 on 3. We'll be back again next week with some more news and topics. And once again, I've been Marty.
I'm Matt.
I'm Nick.
And we'll see you guys next week.